Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God is the noun and the verb, the most merciful God, the bestower of mercy. Aleph Lam Ra Tilka Ayatul Kitab al-Mubin. ALR. These are the signs of the perspicuous book which we have revealed, which we have sent down. In the Arabic tongue, that peradventure you may understand. Oh, yeah, Arabic's not part of this verse. Oh, wait, that's part of the next verse. Okay. Because the prophet with the message should be able to understand it. We relate unto thee most excellent history by revealing unto thee this Quran, whereas thou wast before one of the negligent. So he couldn't do justice to the stories that he just didn't know, or the principles that he didn't know. When Joseph said to his father, O my father, verily I saw in my dream 11 stars and the sun and the moon, and I saw them make obeisance unto me. Jacob said, O my child, tell not thy vision to thy brethren, lest they devise some plot against thee, for the devil is professed enemy unto men. And thus, according to thy dream, shall thy Lord choose thee, and teach thee the interpretation of sayings, events, hadith. So wait, Joseph can, hadith is okay for him, but not, this again is a refuting verse to those who, claim that hadith are all made up. Hadith, yeah. Shall accomplish his favor upon thee and upon the family of Jacob, as he hath formerly accomplished it upon thy fathers Abraham and Isaac. For thy Lord is knowing and wise. Surely, in God, in the history of Joseph and his brethren, there are signs of God's providence to the inquisitive. When they said, Joseph and his brother are dearer to our father than we, who are a greater number. Our father certainly maketh a wrong judgment. Slay Joseph, or drive him into some part of the earth, and the face of your father shall be cleared towards you, and ye shall afterwards be people of integrity. One of them spoke and said, Slay not Joseph, but throw him to the bottom of the well, and some travelers will take him up, if ye do this. They said, O father, why dost thou not entrust Joseph with us, since we are sincere unto him? Send him with us tomorrow into the field, that he may deliver himself in sport, and we will be his guardians. Jacob answered, It grieveth me that ye take him away, and I fear lest the wolf devour him, while ye are negligent of him. They said, Surely if the wolf devour him, when there are so many of us, we shall be weak indeed. And when they had carried him with them, and agreed to set him at the bottom of the well, they executed their design, and we sent a revelation unto him, saying, Thou shalt declare this their action unto them, and they shall not perceive thee. And They came to their father at even, weeping, and said, "Father, we went and ran races with one another, and we left Joseph with our baggage, and the wolf have devoured him. But thou wilt not believe us, although we speak the truth." Truth. And they produced his inner garment stained with false blood. Jacob answered, "Nay, but ye yourselves have contrived the thing for your own sakes. However, patience is most becoming, and God's assistance is to be implored. Enable me to support the misfortune which ye relate." And certain travelers came and sent one to draw water for them. And he let down his bucket and said, "Good news! This is a youth." And they concealed him, that they might sell him as a piece of merchandise. But God knew that which they did. And they sold him for a mean price, for a few pence. And they valued him lightly. And the Egyptian who bought him said to his wife, "Use him honorably. Peradventure he may be serviceable unto us, or we may adopt him for our son." Thus did we prepare an establishment for Joseph in the earth, and we taught him the interpretation of sayings. For God is well able to effect his purpose, but the greater part of men do not understand. And again, how is he given this ability to interpret things and say things according to his prophethood? And how if the Israelites are white, would they blend in with these people that, by any definition, are part of Africa, and Africa before the Crusades and such, that left the people there in the north far more mixed than they used to be? For God is well able to effect his purpose, but the greater part of men do not understand. And when he had attained his age of strength, he bestowed on him wisdom and knowledge. For thus do we recompense the righteous. And she in whose house he was desired him to lie with her. And she shut the doors and said, "Come hither." And he answered, "God forbid. Verily my Lord hath made my dwelling with him easy, and the ungrateful shall not prosper." I'm thinking different Lord here. Yeah, it's a lowercase, different type of Lord. But she resolved with herself to enjoy him, and he would not have resolved to enjoy her, had he not seen the evident demonstration of his Lord. So we turned away evil and filthiness from him, because he was one of our sincere servants. And they ran to the door, and she rent his inner garment behind. And they met her Lord at the door. She said, "What shall be the reward of him who seeketh to commit evil in thy family, but imprisonment and a painful punishment?" And Joseph said, "She asks me to lie with her." And a witness of his family bore witness, saying, "If his garment be rent before, she speaketh the truth, and he is the liar. But if his garment be rent behind, she lieth, and he is a speaker of the truth." Well, this seems the most logical, but it's possible that somebody trying to rape somebody would still tear their clothes from the front, or actually raping them. And when her husband saw that his garment was torn behind, he said, "This is a cunning contrivance of your sex. For surely your cunning is great." This is the word The noble, not the word of God. That, oh, this is the contrivance of the females, these cunning females. Not the word of God. This is God quoting. O Joseph, take no further notice of this affair, and thou ask pardon for thy crime, for thou art a guilty person. And certain women said in the city, the nobleman's wife asks her servant to lie with her. He hath inflamed her breast with his love, and we perceive her to be manifest error. And when she heard of their subtle behavior, my female voice isn't too good, she said unto them, she sent unto them and prepared a banquet for them, and she gave each of them a knife. And she said unto Joseph, come forth unto them. And when they saw him, they praised him greatly. And they cut their own hands and said, O God, this is not a mortal. He is no other than an angel deserving the highest respect. So they obviously didn't cut off their hands. And the same word in the other verse with an extra wow. It doesn't have an extra wow. Well, they saw him and praised him greatly, and they cut their own hands and said, O God, this is not a mortal, and no other than an angel deserving the highest respect. Charanefre, Nacharnfer, and then they said the rest of it. I don't remember the rest in the Egyptian language. And his mistress said, this is he for whose sake ye blamed me. I asked him to lie with me, but he constantly refused. But if he do not perform that which I command him, he shall surely be cast into prison, and he shall be made one of the contemptible. Joseph said, O Lord, a prison is more eligible unto me than that to which they invite me. But unless thou turn aside their snares from me, I shall youthfully incline unto them, and I shall become one of the foolish. So we too, whether should be so opposed to extramarital sex, but we shouldn't necessarily make supplication that could be granted that, oh, send me to prison rather than becoming a fornicator. Choose your words wisely. Wherefore his Lord heard him, and turned aside their snare from him, for he both heareth and knoweth. And it seemed good unto them, after they had seen the signs of his innocency, to imprison him for a time. And there entered into the prison with him 2 servants. One of them said, it seemed to me in my dream that I pressed wine. And the other said, it seemed to me that I carried bread on my head, wherefore the birds did eat. Declare unto us the interpretation of our dreams, for we perceive that thou art a beneficent person. Joseph answered, no food wherewith ye may be nourished shall come unto you, but I will declare unto you the interpretation thereof before it come to you. The knowledge is a part of that which my Lord hath taught me. For I have left the religion of the people who do not believe in God, who deny the life to come. I follow the religion of my fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It is not lawful for us to associate anything with God. This knowledge of the divine unity have been given us out of the bounty of God towards us and towards mankind. But the greater part of men are not thankful. O my fellow prisoners, are sundry lords better, are the only true and mighty God. Ye worship not besides him other than the names which ye have named, ye and your fathers, concerning which God has sent down no authoritative proof, yet judgment unto God alone, who hath commanded that ye worship none besides him. This is not commanded that ye worship none besides him. This is the right religion, but the greater part of men know it not. Yep, mixed up lines there. Make sure. O my fellow prisoners, verily the one of you shall serve wine to his Lord as formerly, but the other shall be crucified, and the birds shall eat from off his head. Yes, people were spread out to be killed other than the Romans. The Romans didn't invent that. The matter is decreed concerning which ye shall seek to be informed. And Joseph said unto him whom he judged to be the person who should escape of the two, Remember me in the presence of thy Lord. But the devil caused him to forget to make mention unto his Lord. Wherefore he remained in the prison some years. And the king of Egypt said, Verily, I saw in my dream 7 fat kine, which 7 lean kine devoured, and 7 green ears, and the other withered. O nobles, expound my vision unto me, if ye be able to interpret a vision. They answered, They are confused dreams, neither are we skilled in the interpretation of dreams. And Joseph's fellow prisoner, who had been delivered, said, for he remembered Joseph after a certain period of time, I will declare unto you the interpretation thereof. Wherefore let me go unto the person who will interpret it unto me. And he went to the prison and said, O Joseph, thou man of veracity, teach us the interpretation of 7 fat kine, which 7 lean kine devoured, and of the 7 green ears of corn, and the other 7 withered ears, which the king saw in his dream, that I may return unto the men who have sent me, that peradventure they may understand. Joseph answered, Ye shall sow 7 years as usual, and that which ye shall reap, do ye leave in its ear, except sheath, is what it says actually. This doesn't mention corn, it's sheaths. Except a little, whereof ye may eat. Then shall there come after this 7 grievous years of famine, which shall consume what ye shall have laid up as a provision for the same, except a little, which ye shall have kept. Then shall there come after this a year, wherein men shall have plenty of rain, and wherein they shall press wine and oil. And when the chief butler had reported this, the king said, Bring him unto me. And when the messenger came unto Joseph, he said, Return unto thy Lord, and ask of him, what was the case, what was the intent of the women who cut their hands? For my Lord well knoweth the snare which they laid. And when the women were assembled before the king, he said unto them, What was your design when you solicited Joseph to unlawful love? Well, it's not unlawful love, unlawful acts, or love of the flesh, or whatever. They answered, God be praised. We know not any ill of him. The nobleman's wife said, Now is the truth become manifest. I solicited him to lie with me, and he is one of those who speak the truth. When Joseph was acquainted therewith, he said, This discovery hath been made, that my Lord might know that I was not unfaithful unto him in his absence, and that God directeth not the plot of the deceivers. Lord with the lowercase l. Neither do I absolutely justify myself, since every soul is prone to evil, except those on whom my Lord shall show mercy. For my Lord is gracious and merciful. And the king said, Bring him unto me. I will take him into my own particular service. And when Joseph was brought to the king, and he had discourse with him, he said, Thou art this day firmly established with us, and thou shalt be entrusted with our affairs. For I will be a skillful help. For I will be a skillful keeper. And very important to struggle to liberate your reputation. Thus did we establish Joseph in the land, that we may provide him a dwelling therein where he pleased. We bestow our mercy on whom we please, and we suffer not the reward of the righteous to perish. Certainly the reward of the next life is better for those who believe and fear God. Moreover, Joseph's brethren came and went in unto him. He knew them. He went into his home, and he knew them, but they knew not him. And when he furnished them with their provisions, he said, Bring unto me your brother of your father. Do you not see that I give full measure, and that I am the most hospitable receiver of guests? But if ye bring him not unto me, there shall be no more measure unto you from me, neither shall ye approach. They answered, We will endeavor to obtain him from his father, and we will certainly perform what thou requirest. And Joseph said to his servants, Put their money, which they paid for their grain, into their sacks, that they may perceive it when they shall be returned to their family. Peradventure they will come back. And when they were returned unto their father, they said, O father, it is forbidden to measure out unto us any more, unless we carry our brother Benjamin with us. Wherefore send our brother with us, and we shall have corn measured unto us, and we will certainly guard him. Jacob answered, Shall I trust him with you any better success than I trusted your brother with you heretofore? So this surah sort of mirrors itself. The order kind of reverses. So the first is last, and then you see the rest as it comes out for. Spoiler alert. But God is the best guardian, and he is the most merciful of those that show mercy. And when they opened their provision, they found their money had been returned unto them. And they said, O Father, what do we desire further? This our money hath been returned unto us. We will therefore return and provide grain for our family. Kernels. It doesn't say ears, it says sheaths. So there's different terminology here. They grew wheat and such for our family. We will take care of our brother, and we shall receive a camel's burden more than we did the last time. This is a small quantity. Jacob said, I will by no means send him with you until you give me a solemn promise, and swear by God that you will certainly bring him back unto me, unless ye be encompassed. And when they had given their solemn promise, he said, God is witness of what we say. And he said, My sons, enter not by one and the same gate, but enter by different gates. This precaution will be of no advantage unto you against the decree of God, for judgment belongeth to God, unto God alone. In him do I put my trust, and in him let those who confide seek in whom to put their trust. And when they entered the city as their father had commanded them, it was of no advantage to them against the decree of God. And the same served only to satisfy the desire of Jacob's soul, which he had charged them to perform. For he was endued with great knowledge of that which we have taught him. but the greater part of men do not understand. And when they entered into the presence of Joseph, he received his brother Benjamin, son of the right hand, as his guest, and said, Verily I am thy brother. Be not therefore afflicted for that which they have committed against us. And when he had furnished them with their provisions, he put his cup in his brother's sack. And there a crier cried, saying, O company of travelers, ye are surely thieves, they said, and turned back into them. What is it that ye miss? They answered, We miss the prince's cup. And unto him who shall produce it shall be given a camel's load of grain or something. Yeah. And I will be surety for the same. Joseph's brethren replied, By God, ye know well we come not to act corruptly in the land, neither are we thieves. The Egyptians said, What shall be the reward of him who shall appear to have stolen the cup, if ye be found liars? Joseph's brethren answered, As to the reward of him in whose sack it shall be found, let him become bondman in satisfaction of the same. Thus do we reward the unjust who are guilty of theft. Then he began by their sacks, before he searched the sack of his brother, and he drew out from his brother's sack. Thus did we furnish Joseph with a stratagem. It was not lawful for him to take his brother for bondman. By the law of the king of Egypt had not God pleased to allow it, according to the offer of his brethren. We exalt to degrees of knowledge and honor whom we please, and there is one who is knowing above all those who are endued with knowledge. His brethren said, If Benjamin be guilty of theft, his brother Joseph have also been guilty heretofore. Well, the names were not said, but Joseph knows what was going on. But Joseph concealed these things in his mind, and he did not discover them unto them. And he said with himself, Ye are in a worse condition than us two, and God best knoweth what ye discourse about. They said unto Joseph, Noble Lord, verily this lad hath an aged father. Wherefore take one of us in his stead, for we perceive that thou art a beneficent person. Joseph answered, God forbid that we should take any other than him with whom we found our goods, for then should we certainly be unjust. And when they despaired of obtaining Benjamin, they retired to confer privately together. And the elder of them said, Do ye not therefore know that your father have received a solemn promise from you in the name of God, and how perfidiously ye behave towards Joseph? Wherefore I will by no means depart the land of Egypt until my father give me leave. Turn them, or God maketh known his will to me, for he is the best judge. Return ye to your father, and say, O father, verily thy son hath committed theft. We bear witness of no more than what we know, and we could not guard against what we did not foresee. And do thou inquire in the city where we have been, and of the company of the merchants with whom we are arrived, and thou wilt find that we speak the truth. And when they were returned, and had spoken thus to their father, he said, Nay, but rather ye yourselves have contrived the thing for your own sakes. But patience is more proper for me. Peradventure God will restore them all unto me, for he is knowing and wise. And he turned from them and said, "Oh, how am I grieved for Joseph." And his eyes became white with mourning, and he being oppressed with deep sorrow. His son said, "By God, thou wilt not cease to remember Joseph until thou be brought to death's door, or thou actually be destroyed." He answered, "I only represent my grief, which I am not able to contain, and my sorrow unto God. But I know from God that which ye know not. O my sons, go and make inquiry after Joseph and his brother, and despair not the mercy of God. For none despaireth of God's mercy except the unbelieving people. Wherefore Joseph's brethren returned into Egypt, and when they had come into his presence, they said, "Noble Lord, the famine is felt by us and our family, and we are come with a small sum of money, yet give unto us full measure, and bestow upon us as alms, for God rewardeth the almsgivers." Joseph said unto them, "Do you know what ye did unto Joseph and his brother when you were ignorant of the consequences thereof?" They answered, "Art thou really Joseph?" He replied, "I am Joseph, and this is my brother. Now hath God been gracious unto us, for whoso feareth God and persevereth with patience shall at length find relief, since God will not suffer the reward of the righteous to perish." They said, "By God, now hath God chosen thee above us, and we have surely been sinners." Joseph answered, "Let there be no reproach on you this day. God forgiveth you, for he is the most merciful of those who show mercy. Depart ye with this my inner garment, and throw it on my father's face, and he shall recover his sight. And then come unto me with all your family." And when the company of travelers departed from Egypt on their journey towards Canaan with their father, their father said unto those who were about them, "Verily I perceive the smell of Joseph, although ye think that I don't." They answered, "By God, thou art in thy old mistake." Another chance to play games with their father, huh? SubhanAllah. Although you think that I don't, by God, thou art in thy old mistake. But when the messenger of good tidings was come with Joseph's inner garment, he threw it over his face, and he recovered his eyesight. And Jacob said, "Did I not tell you that I knew from God that which you knew not?" They answered, "O Father, ask pardon for our sins for us, for we have surely been sinners." He replied, "I will surely ask pardon for God, for you, of my Lord," capital L, different Lord here, different word here, maybe. Yeah.